going to fight December 6th at T-Mobile Arena. He was live on Ariel's show when Ariel gave him this information. Now, yes, Merab did know that he was fighting, and he did know who his opponent was, but Ariel revealed to Merab the placement, that it was going to be the main event. And he was very excited. He got up and he did his little dance. That main event was important to him. And there was something very cool about seeing Merab in like this genuinely good moment. But of course, the articles start coming out immediately following, which is, will Merab burn out? And then he gets asked the question, and Merab's got to say, no, I'll never burn out. The other side's got to suggest that somehow he would. And that is a very interesting conversation that I got to tell you, the only reason I find it interesting is because it's been around from the beginning of this sport, and I've never understood. Tell me where my logic is wrong. I feel that I'm missing something here because so many people believe in this burnout. I mean, the very writer of the article who writes every single day is writing about a guy who goes to work 4 times a year as opposed to 3. And the writer of the article is generally, I can't believe you're not going to burn out. I can't believe the guy that does the same thing absolutely every day, 300 plus days a year, is giving a sympathy to a guy who is going to have to go and do his job 4 times a year. And I wonder why. Like, what is different in your minds? What is different? What is different? You're training harder. You're training different. There is a truth to your intensity. There is a truth to an intensity. And there's a select group of fighters that only train when they have fights. And they don't make it very far. Every now and then, one of those will slip through the cracks and do really well with that. But generally speaking, an athlete is going into practice, right? The word training is so wildly corrupted within this space. Training is when you eat, sleep, and breathe the sport. Everything else is practice, workouts, or exercise. But top athletes will practice, work out, and exercise. The top athletes are ready to go 3 rounds at all times. The only time you would have a debate or what's known as a short notice fight, regardless of what the credit the media will give you, but the only time that would play in is you're talking about championship rounds. An average athlete does not carry himself or even be held to the standard to carry himself in a position that he is ready for championship rounds at all time. A professional fighter will be ready to make weight and go 3 rounds any given day. So I want to look at this concept of burnout, though, because while I don't understand how you're asking a guy that goes to work 4 times a year, while I don't understand that, I do believe that a fighter has a certain amount of fights. And it's a matter of when are you going to use them? When are you going to fire those bullets? Once that chamber's empty, it's never going to refill. How many you have, you don't know. It's got to go out there and be tested. There'll never be a day that you're done with this sport. You'll wake up one day to find out this sport is done with you. So, like, there'll never be a day that you don't want your body to go out and do certain motions. You will wake up one morning and your body will let you know, I'm done doing those motions. Okay. Now, if a fighter does have a certain amount, right, even if that isn't exact, he's got 11. Whatever that neighborhood is, right there, where he's got a certain amount. I don't understand the fighters that drag it on. That's the part that I don't understand. When somebody says, hey, he needs a rest. Hey, let's do this same fight. Let's do this same thing. Let's just do it 8 months from now. You play that game a few times, maybe it works out, maybe you burned up your career, maybe you burned up your best moments, maybe you're still hanging on to it because that chamber's still got another one to fire. What was the benefit if you're going to do 4 fights, if that's your number, if you're going to do 4 fights? What is the benefit of doing those 4 fights over 3 years as opposed to doing those 4 fights in a year? What is the benefit? I mean, if you sit down with a calculator and you start punching in the numbers, it's still your contract times 4. So would you rather drag, and then when you're done with fighting, you got to go find something else to do with your time? Would you rather drag that on so that you don't have to do something with your time? You don't have to find out what that is, which is a hard moment. It's a hard decision to make. You don't have to make that transition. That's the can that you get to kick, because you're not kicking anything else down the road. You're not kicking the number of fights, the number of victories, the number of scales, the number of airplanes, the number of hotels, the numbers of fights. And when your career gets done, you will realize there's only two things that are real: the money and the miles. That's it. So when you get your calculator out and you start skipping fights, but your career is going to have the same amount of fights. Okay, what is it that you're doing? I'll use a great example, but I've looked at John Jones. I don't believe that John has 3 more fights. I would be stunned to find out if John had 3 more fights, but that statement has been true for a meaningful amount of time. So John, who took off this last year, and prior to that took off 11 months, and prior to that took off 36 months by choice. If he's got 3 fights, he could get those in 12 months. Getting those fights a year or 2 years from now, the numbers don't change. The math doesn't change. Just for example, if you type that into your calculator, so why wouldn't you get it done now? Whatever job you have, whatever your current job is, you get a paycheck when you complete that job. Would it make a level of sense to get that job done as timely as you can, maybe even by the end of the day if possible? Or would it make sense to get that job done 2 years from now? The check doesn't change. It's the same check. But if you do get it done now, it allows you the opportunity to go and do something else. That's the part where I always get confused. I get really confused with this burnout. If a guy goes too fast, he's going to get burned out. That story will never go away. If a guy goes too slow, he's got ring rust. That story will never go away. And I'm just trying to rationalize and understand. This article was truly written by a guy that does it every day. And he sympathized with the guy that's going to do it one more time than most other guys would have done it. Man, I don't get this. I don't get this. So the cornerman and the team, everybody involved, the guy setting up the cameras, the guy that works at the venue, everybody's got to go to work every day, except that guy. He's only got to do it 3 times, and he's chosen to do it 4. This guy's crazy. He might even do it 5. I don't get it. But above everything else, I don't get the sympathy for it.